Mentioned another great joy last week was the completion of another house down in Tijuana, Mexico. We had a great group of college and adult students and leaders go down and build a home. And Jack Hale and Joel Oakford have done remarkable work on our center, and it's so super functional. It was great. So I am going to be sharing some of the scripture lesson in the sermon today. So let's pray together for God's guidance and illumination. Our Lord, our God, we come before you as we will listen to the word that you have for us today. Prepare our hearts and our minds to receive that word from you. Create a space of calm for us that we might listen. In your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, talking a little bit about Jesus loves me, but I realized that the history of God's people, you might actually know more than you think you do because of some of the songs that you might know. We probably know some of the big cornerstones of the events of the history of God, but then we sometimes overlook the small events that have also shaped our history and our faith. And so today, later on, we're going to talk about Deborah, one of those people that often gets overlooked. But we all know about creation, Adam and Eve, right, all that, and then the first sin of trying to be God. And we know about the flood, Noah's Ark, and the rainbow promise. And we know that because I know I used to irritate my kids with rise and shine and give God your glory, glory, right? So like, oh yeah, no, I know that one. Yeah, got that one. And we might even vaguely recall the Old Testament family tree beginning with Abraham and Sarah, and then Isaac, and then Jacob, and Jacob and Esau, and then Joseph. Because I don't know how many know this one. Father Abraham, and then his sons. And his sons had Father Abraham. Okay, yes, so you know that one, right? So you got that one going on. Which leads to then Israel's slavery, and then the redemption through Moses, right? Pharaoh. Oh, so we know that part of the history. And then there's the wandering in the desert, and finally the entrance into the promised land of the command of Joshua, right? Choir members should probably have to help me on this one. Joshua in the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua in the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Down. Okay, so yeah. Anyhow, so we know those stories, right? Because we know those songs. And yet there's other songs in the Bible, especially the Old Testament, that we're not as familiar with, but they also tell a story of God's faithfulness. So we pick up Deborah's story after the people have entered the promised land. They are armed with their commandments in one arm and their the lessons that they learned in the desert in the other, and they are ready to enter their destiny as the people of God, and they are settling into the land. But as human nature would have it, they developed a terrible habit of disobeying God and then turning their back on God, which would then result in foreign leaders overtaking them in some way and oppressing the people. The people of God would then come to their senses, they would cry out to God, and God would develop a plan for deliverance and salvation. The people would then promise to follow God in His commands and would live well for a bit. And then they would forget what happened, and they would repeat the cycle again. And again. And again. And it kept going throughout the history of the people of God. The Israelites would perform this disobedience, oppression, salvation cycle over and over. And in the midst of these cycles, we are introduced and of courage and of leadership. So the book of Judges is a collection of stories about this repeated cycle, including the story of Deborah. It's about Deborah and her two counterparts, Barak and Jael, which are found in Judges chapter 4 and 5. 4 is the recounting of Deborah's actions, and chapter 5 is this ancient song that is lifting up the praises and the salvation of the people by God through the actions of Deborah and her associates. So Judges 4, 1 through 7 says this about Deborah. Let's hear the word of God together. After Ehud died, that was the judge prior to Deborah, the Israelites once again did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, the king of Canaan, who reigned at Hazor. The commander of the army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth. Because he had 900 chariots, iron chariots, and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years, they cried out to the Lord for help. Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of practices too. Labath, there you go, was leading, she was leading Israel at the time. She held court under the palm of Deborah, between Ram and Bethel, the hill country of Ephraim. And the Israelites came to her to have their disputes decided. She sent for Barak in Nephtali and asked him this: "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead the way to Mount Tabor. I will lure Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops, to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands." So here's Deborah. She's a prophetess. She's, in fact, the first prophet in Israel since Moses. She's a judge. She sits and helps and arbitrates the people of God in their disputes. It also says that she's a wife, and the way it says it in Hebrew actually describes her as a fiery woman. I don't know anything about that. Deborah, it says, held court under a palm tree, and it was known as the Palm of Deborah. And it was under this palm that her leadership came into focus for a time when God had given over the people to the Canaanites and their king Jabin, and to a ruthless military leader, Sisera. Sisera's tyranny is actually talked about in the song that's in chapter 5. His tyranny included economic blockades. It included attacks on innocent civilians. It included genocide. And it included raping the women of Israel. It was no wonder that the people were crying out for salvation. Deborah was thoughtful, and she waited on God for direction. And God gives Deborah an ingenious military plan to defeat the Canaanites, who terrorized the Israelites with 900 iron chariots. So Deborah, as instructed, calls for Barak, who's Israel's military leader. They, in turn, call for 10,000 men, and she's given them instructions in the battle. But of course, Barak decides that he doesn't want to go to battle without Deborah with him. And so Deborah concedes, but then tells Barak later on, "The glory will not be yours because you are not willing to follow God's commandment completely. But God will still usher into our hands the Canaanites. So God leads the Israelite army to the high ground around the Kishon Valley, the river valley. And Sisera's army, because they are iron chariots, become bogged down in the river valley because unseasonable rains had showed up and made the whole rest of the place a bog. They couldn't get through. They were attacked by Israel and defeated. But of course, Sisera flees his chariot and runs on to a place where he assumes he's being greeted by friends of King Jabin, only to be at the hands of a ruthless twist of fate. And he is murdered at the hands of Jael, a wife who is of a supposed ally. And this is what, beginning with verse 18, Judges has to say. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Come, my lord, come right in. Don't be afraid." So he entered her tent, and she put a covering over him. "I'm thirsty," he said. "Please give me some water." She opened a skin of milk and gave him a drink and covered him up. "Stand in the doorway of the tent," he told her. "If someone comes by and asks you, 'Is anyone here?' say no." But Jael, Heber's wife, picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted. She drove the tent peg into his temple, into the ground, and he died. I used to love to tell this story to junior high. There is no better way to put the fear of God into an 11 or 12-year-old than that story. So Sisera now meets his maker, so to speak, at the hands of someone who he thought was an ally. So we have Deborah, this prophetess. We have the people disobeying, then crying out. We have Barak, who is a military leader, but somewhat cautious. We have all these characters in this story. This story that often seems obscure to us and makes us feel uncomfortable sometimes. So what is it that we can learn from this story? What we learn and what we're reminded of is that God does respond to human actions. The opening of this chapter reminds us that the people did evil, and God responded by allowing them to be given over to oppression. The people's oppression and their dismay was a direct result of their disobedience, of their abandonment of God. But God's response doesn't end there. When they cry out, when they recognize how far away they have gotten from God, how far they have wandered, and they understand that their circumstances are the consequences of their behavior and their betrayal of God, God again responds with a plan of action, a plan of salvation, a plan that works through the actions of humans. God works through Deborah and her gifts that she has for the people of God. Deborah puts her gifts into action in creative and surprising ways. God works through Barak as he leads the army of the Israelites in spite of his lack of trust. And God works through the seemingly treacherous actions of Jael, who puts an end to the horrendous violence that was perpetrated on the people of God by one villainous general. The good news for us that is revealed in this story is that God is still at work responding. God is still at work responding to our of trust and faithfulness. God continues the salvation plan through the person of Jesus Christ. We are redeemed. Just like those who were crying out to God, we are redeemed through Jesus Christ, and the more trust that we are able to put into that salvation, the better off we will be. God is at work through the people who are all around us. God is at work for good in our lives. He is at work for our benefit. We just need to take the time to recognize God's actions in our midst. But the story of Deborah, especially the part with Jael in it, can make us feel uncomfortable. We don't often know what to do or make of Jael. Her actions seem to run so contrary to God's love and compassion that we find in Jesus Christ. And yet, in context, we must remember that these were dark and violent times that Deborah and Barak and the people of Israel are living through. Sisera is a ruthless man who preyed upon the innocent with outrageous pain and suffering. Jael employed some rough justice that was driven by circumstances. God did not command Jael to murder Sisera to end his life, but it was an option that she chose, given the circumstances, and God then used that to complete his mission of salvation. But God uses the actions of others to fulfill his plan as well. Deborah's action was to create a space for channeling God's wisdom and direction. Deborah is living at a time of dire oppression and imminent war, and yet she responds by creating a stillness under a palm tree. I don't have a palm tree, but I got a really great umbrella. Deborah creates a place of calm, a place where she can clear her head and where she can hear God's voice in her life. Sways back and forth. Instead of us trying to carry our own burdens all the time, God wants our action to just sit and be calm and listen for God's voice in our life so that we might be attuned to God, that we might align our lives with God so that we can make peace out of the chaos of daily life. So where is your palm tree? Where is your place of quiet and rest? If I can get this to cooperate again. Where is it that you foster a relationship with God in the quietness that will give you strength and resilience for what is coming ahead? God works through the actions of others, actions that were meant for evil and actions that were meant for good. God works through all of it, to bring us to a place of calm and resonance, a place where we can hear God's voice and we watch.